All right, so with our handsome Mr. W, ready, Winston? We'll do a little find it. There we go, good job. So he's been doing a stellar job. He and his BFF, Miss Sophie, are doing wonderful together. Tucker also joins the gang here and there as well for when they go out for potty breaks and do a few things together too throughout the day. So for warm-ups with Mr. W, just starting off with a couple little find-its. I wanted to work a little bit more with some loose leash walking and engagement towards the handler, then also work a little bit through some of our play behaviors. And I'm just taking some of these treats that he has and just breaking them up even smaller. He's like, yes, please. So again, ready with me? So as we're practicing, his gait is just so stinking cute. He does such a good job. Yes. So he's quite quick, which is quite nice when you have teeny legs and people's, oh my goodness, like most of the beauties, walking and chewing is hard. You got it okay? Oh my goodness, what a good job. But I do find his ability to keep up with my longer legs is quite impressive. Don't always feel you have to be running or going too fast. So ready with me? Nice, what a smart boy. So right here, yes. I don't care if he's on the left or the right, just so we mentioned a little bit earlier. I just want him to start thinking there's value. Nice. And orienting towards the person. Yes. So we're creating a really nice little, again, bank account into this behavior. He says, I didn't see that one. Ready? Find it. So remember that everything that we're working on, and again, cough drop for me, not a dog snack. They do look similar. So remember that for a lot of these beauties, working on these skills, you have to remember that if they haven't done some of them as much as others, their ability to generalize those skills won't be quite as easily attainable compared to things that they've done really well and have had a lot more practice with. So just like with us, if something's a new skill, it might require a lot of practice before we can implement it like in the real world setting. So same thing with your beauties is if they're not doing as well, yes, it's more than likely, again, like we've mentioned in the past, this generalization of the skills in the new environments or with harder distractions is where the practice normally needs more finesse. Again, sorry. This darn tickle's going to be the end of me. We'll see if he can do a little find it for that bad boy. He's like, I didn't see it. Ready? Find it. Just going to grab a drink. And then we'll do a little bit of play as well for this handsome guy to use play as a way to motivate some behaviors too. Again, sorry about the having to take pauses for drinks. So ready? Winston, come. So he's a little distracted by some odor in the corner of the room. Let's say again, we call our beauty and nothing happens. We're going to go again half the distance roughly. Ready? Winston, come. Yes, what a good job. So I know we had mentioned it earlier is don't keep saying your skill over and over if there's no ability for the babe to do well. So if you're not about 80 to 90% certain they're going to be able to do the skill, don't bother asking. Because otherwise, your babe might be able to either hear the cue and then not realize what it means, or, for example, your babe might find it more appealing to ignore your cue and keep romping or doing the thing they were doing before they were able to hone back in on you. Ready? Winston. So I might go into a little name recognition. He's a little distracted by some crumbs. Yes. And feed for that. So a great way to practice orientation back to you from the environment is, like we mentioned, these find its, and then from there, Winston. Yes. So if, let's say, his name has at times equaled not so good, or he's getting into mischief, try to be careful about saying his name and then getting grumpy. So I know it's easier said than done for a lot of us. So I always think of, if I don't love what my dog is doing, what could I ask them to do instead? And I typically, instead, my default is the kissy noise. So as opposed to being so-and-so, knock it off, or so-and-so, that's enough, where again, sometimes we're creating now a negative association with the dog, their name, and then potentially other skills down the road. So right here, I'm gonna go, Winston. And if, let's say, he's too distracted, yes, what a good boy, I would go and help him if he didn't do as well. Yeah, good job. If it's easier, you might even get his attention. Winston, he's like, yes, ma'am. Go into a little find it and then practice from there. Winston, moving back into your space. So a little bit of that orientation that we were doing a little bit with Mr. T earlier, where he would start to hone in from the environment back to you. Nice. He just has to make sure that there's no crumbs in here that he may have missed from earlier. because some of the other puppers do not pick up all their crumbs the way he would like to. Nice. What a smart boy. You're doing such a good job. His little white little beard just kills me too, like where he's got his little goatee right on his chin. Ready? Find it. So again, sometimes to keep it more engaging, nice, is we might do a little loose leash walking. We might go into find it. We might do recalls. We might then rotate through some play, because remember, if we become very stagnant, we then start to be a lot less entertaining compared to the environment. Ready? Find it. Nice. So I throw a little snack away. Winston, come. Yes. So that was, again, more of a little recall versus just name recognition. But they all start to build on each other. What a brilliant boy. Ready? Yes. So again, we're going to keep moving. I love it that he actually crunches his snacks. He's probably one of the only ones in here that technically chews. No offense to the others. Miss S does some chewing too, actually. Yes. So again, I might send him away, find it. He's like, where'd it go? He's got to use that sniffer again. He's so close. Nice. Winston, come. What a brilliant boy. He really is doing a really nice job. Good job. So obviously, for doing such a nice work moment, checking in and working with me, I'm going to give him the thing he wanted last time, where he could hear Mr. T doing some playing. He was very sad and left out. So if you, I know, have multiples at home, I would still highly recommend to do some time with each individual babe. Otherwise, if we try to clump everything, he's like, lady, don't keep talking, just work. You ready? All right, we'll play and we'll talk. You ready? Go get it. So if it's hard to include, he's like, yeah, include both of the babes. I know for some puppies, remember, sharing is difficult. So just like with us, there's plenty of times where you're having your meal and you don't want to share your dessert with someone, and that's okay. So same thing with him. If there's certain things he doesn't always want to share, I would recommend to have some alone time for each of the siblings, so they have the chance to enjoy the things they enjoy without having to worry about the pressure of one being near the other. I know we dove into a little bit with some of those other resources, like the book Mine and the other book called Fight. Those could be great resources when you do have a multi-dog household, or if you're dealing with resource guarding, which the Mine is all about resource guarding. So this right here, gorgeous behavior. He's caught the critter. He's practicing shaking and killing it. So I know it sounds really scary when we're like, oh my gosh, the dog is like going and rehearsing like typical prey, of catching prey and then being the predator. Ready? I dropped a snack. Find it. So I like to, again, keep the toy there. I don't want him to feel pressure that if I go and do a find it, that he's going to magically get the thing taken away, especially for a sensitive dog that has at times had things taken from them. And I know we're not trying to create more, difficulty for him or more conflict, but there's plenty of times when puppies grab the inappropriate stuff, and because they're constantly rehearsing grabbing the wrong stuff, that becomes most of their learning history with us, is we become the end of the game. So ready? Find it. So what I'm trying to do for Mr. W is, even though the thing is out and we're practicing together, letting go still has a really good association for him. So letting go, yeah, nice check-in, is not a bad thing. So I want him to eventually start thinking that maybe checking in even throughout the play is attainable, and that from here we could go into more play for doing some check-ins. Winston, you ready? Ready? Go get it. So I like to, at times, have the puppy check in, and then for doing that gorgeous check-in, we get to play again. Nice job. And I want to make sure he does catch it. Excuse me. He's doing great. Just going to grab another little drink while he's mid-grabbing of the toy. What a smart boy. So I know we've discussed doing toy exchange too. Like, you might have more than one or two toys to practice moving from one to the other. Sometimes if you only have the one, excuse me, ready? This is gonna be the worst day with the darn tickles. I'm so sorry. Once it gets you, it gets you. Mr. W doing some very nice check-ins though. This is a problem with blabbing the whole time. Ready? We'll do a little find it. Ready? I know, I'm going to make it, I swear. Right there, yes. So we might go, ready? Go get it. What a smart boy. So, but he and Miss S, I mean, all of the beauties have some really great, play drive. So I would highly recommend is to make sure play is part of your training. If training is, again, separate from play, that could be a great window where putting them together could create more retention, more of a release that they find more valuable than food. I love how he has to take it down. So all very natural dog behaviors. So he is not a mean dog for wanting to shake and technically make the toy stop moving. Remember that most dogs do have a full prey predator sequence, I should say. And they will, for example, nice check-ins, my handsome guy. They will typically, like, again, stalk and then chase. And the whole sequence is a little bit bigger than that. And then, of course, catch and bite and all those other things. So some of them don't have a full sequence and some do. So this is where a lot of dogs will give natural doggy behavior. And if we don't have outlets for them, it might be redirected onto things we don't love. So this is beautiful. So ready? Winston. Nice. Great name recognition. Brilliant boy. So we might go from playing into seeing if we get a little check-in. So ready? Winston. I might bring him over here, see if we can get a little sit. He's like, my brain's slightly melted. Yes, what a good boy. Nice. He's like, we must make the toy come alive. So if your babe is more of a toy drive kind of guy, which I think he might be more toy driven than food driven at times, though he does enjoy his snacks. We're going to see if we can go ahead. Yeah, nice job. You ready? Go get it. So you'll see that at no point am I taking the thing and like ripping it out of his mouth. A lot of times people get frustrated. The dogs relinquish the item instantly. And when they don't, they get a little upset and they try to just take it from the dog. Remember, you're trying to create good associations with you and him for their relationship. So if, let's say, it's always like you taking the thing, even if it's something he's allowed to have, remember that at what point are we making it seem like a good idea to maybe let go? If every time we go and relinquish something, does the thing go away? Maybe it's not a great idea to let go. So think from the dog's perspective, how could I create value in the weird stuff I'm asking my dog to do? So I know we've mentioned this in the past in class. No dog walks up to another dog and says, would you like to do a down stay for fun? How about loose leash walking? What about coming when called? So those tend to have almost zero value to your dog. So to create value in the weird stuff we would like them to get good at, we have to then deposit. He's too funny because you have to deposit into those accounts. Good job, Mr. W. But notice how he's looking to me. And then the more he checks in, the quicker then eventually we'll play again. So again, we're just going to give him a little moment. He's like, I made it squeak. He's too cute. You ready? Winston, you ready? Go get it. So hopefully the handsome guy goes home nice and tired because even if they're not always playing throughout the filming, they are playing throughout the day. So either they're playing with each other or they're playing with me and doing a few other games. So even though they might not be, filmed for all of their practice, these boys and girls are definitely getting their fair share of out and about. He's doing a beautiful job. We'll do a little figure 8. And you'll see, though, I keep the item low, nice, and on the floor. So Mr. W is not rushing and jumping into the air because, excuse me, and of course now seltzer makes me burp, so I'm sorry. So very classy day today for me. So let's say your babe tends to follow the lure no matter where it goes, like the toy lure, and that might bring your babe up and off the ground. I would be really cautionary in the beginning, especially if your babes tend to just go and they forget how to land. So most of them don't have the greatest feelings for safety. So I would highly recommend keep the toy low on the floor. If you find that he catches it often, just practice more with your drop-its or give her out and make it fun. That letting go doesn't mean it instantly goes away. So again, the toy's still there. I'll do a couple little find-its if that's easier to start. What a good job. Ready? Winston. We'll go into a nice little find-it again. And then maybe when he's almost done finding his crumbs, again, if he rushes the toy, that's a good job. I'm going to go ahead and feed him for hanging out and not instantly like going and bombarding it. So that way he can start to, and of course we're getting crumbs everywhere, is then he can start to do a check-in. And from doing a check-in, we might go, ready? Go get it. And now the toy could come alive and we could play again. Oh my gosh, chewing and running. Hold on, you chew and eat. Oh my goodness, that's the one downfall with sometimes forgetting to chew your snacks. You got it okay? He's like, nope, 1 second. You good? Okay, we'll let you catch the toy. You can take a break. So, but for homework's sake for him too, is sometimes see, oh, good job checking in, is see if sometimes you can rotate through a few different toys and see how that progression's coming along. Does he do check-ins? Is he able to go from play into working another skill like a sit or eye contact or a hand touch? If he just goes into woohoo and there's no thinking behind it, then maybe we're doing too much woohoo and not enough of being able to come in and out of it. Because if it's constant go, 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 remember, like I mentioned a little bit with Mr. T earlier, is for a lot of our dogs by mistake, we think when they're more excitable, they need more exercise. And sometimes it could be the opposite, where your babe is so overstimulated or so overtired, or that they need actual practice and learning how to take breaks and relax. So make sure you're doing a little bit of both. Because if when your babe is most excitable, you give more wild behavior, you may be by accident kind of creating a critter that enjoys getting really jazzed and then has to have more of that excitement to finally crash. And we want to have more of a nice being able to go in and out of it, because not 24/7 are you going to be able to always meet your babe's needs all the time. And if some of the babes are more eager beavers than others, we want to be careful that when more excitement happens, it doesn't get fueled all the time, because then the brain chemistry starts to turn into over-arousal, needs more excitement to try to finally get out of that zone, and you may find it goes the opposite. So overtired can look like overexcited too. So ready? Winston, come. He's like, hold up. Oh, maybe he needs some water. That's acceptable. He's thinking about it. You ready? He's like, no, I really want the Flirt pole. That seems cuter. He also really loves the sheepskin one, which is maybe what he's hoping for. So, but we'll give Mr. W a little break from this, and we'll work a few more other little skills. He says, lady, I'm exhausted. And then we'll rotate. But really nice job with his play and with some of those previous skills. So good job, Mr. W. He's so handsome.